And so you will get a prompt for everyone to just accept so that you know that it's recorded, but it's so we can put on our website and play back for people. So I will kick it over to both you, Tiara, and Nicole, and maybe just stay unmuted so then I don't have to ask for you to be unmuted.
Hey, welcome everyone again. My name is Nicole Looper. We are going to go over our agenda for today. We are going to cover the BLAC Fund Childcare Grant overview, review the participatory grant making, the BLAC Fund Childcare criteria, timelines, and important dates, and review the grantee cohort commitment. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied right now.
Okay. Oh, this is you, Ashley. Sorry.
No, you're okay. So the BLAC Fund stands for Building Local Alignment and Community. It is a participatory grant making pool of dollars, which means that the people closest to the work get to make decisions about where dollars go. At IBBG, we are an intermediary where we receive funds from other people and we help to reinvest those back into community. And so when we launched the Building Local Alignment and Community, or BLAC Fund, it was really to address what we were seeing in the lack of reproductive health and well-being organizations within Nebraska. We wanted to make sure that we could stand up and support other organizations to come into these systems, to come into the work so that we can see better outcomes for our community. Through that process, what we quickly realized is how important the caregiving economy is to reproductive well-being for moms, people with the capacity for pregnancy, for our children, for our communities. And so through a pilot program with NECC, we were able to start to think about how do we, is daddy okay? Okay, go over there and talk to daddy, please. How we best support child care providers. We piloted this program where we provided technical assistance on the business side. We provided support on the kind of day-to-day compliance side for owning a child care center. And we gave a very small grant to be able to invest in their business. And through that process, we realized that if we wanted strong community-led child care centers and a strong workforce within those centers, we needed more investment. We needed to do things a little bit differently. And so with that, we created this carve out within the BLAC Fund specifically for child care providers, where we allocated $250,000 of our total grant pool, which was $1 million, to 10 childhood business owners. And so we are excited to launch this. As Dr. Takara mentioned, she was a part of our original participatory grant making pool for the BLAC Fund overall. And then she is now also participating on this committee to help ensure that we are able to give $10,000, $25,000 grants to child care providers. All right, next slide.
How we'll utilize the participatory grant making. The BLAC Fund centers participatory decision making, meaning Black women, femmes, and community members will live with lived experiences, on how child care grant dollars are invested. Their insights and leadership to ensure funding reflects the real needs as well as the priorities in your child care business. Instead of relying on traditional philanthropy, where decisions are often made by institutions that are distant from the community, we have chosen more of an intentional approach. Our approach shifts from resource and decision making in the hands of those that need it most, that are affected by the child care inequalities, allowing them to lead the solutions and directly impact the lives of our child care centers, family child care centers and owners. Next slide.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about the BLAC Fund Childcare criteria. The BLAC Fund is prioritized funding for childcare providers that are licensed providers located in Omaha, so east of 90th Street, south of McKinley, west of the Missouri River, and north of Dodge. We also ask that the members become a part of NECC's Child Care Network or commit to joining within 6 months of receiving the grant. Also have an annual budget of 1 million or less. Also are majority owned 51% or more by an underserved business owner with priority given to Black women owners. If you're unsure if you fit, just please apply anyway, or you can reach out to IBBG for more information. We will make sure to include Kelly, who is the BLAC Fund Program Manager. We'll include her information at the end of this call, and you can email her for those particular questions. Once funding is awarded, there are a few commitments that we ask childcare providers to make so that we ensure a long-term stability, shared learning, and collective impact. First, we ask that providers commit to keeping their business open for at least 5 years post-award. This helps us make sure that the investment is supporting sustainable childcare solutions in our community. Next, we'll ask you to participate in a business assessment. This will be a supportive tool to help understand your strengths, identify areas of growth, and make sure your business is positioned to thrive. We also ask that you join quarterly check-ins with your cohort and our project managers. These are touch points to share progress, discuss challenges, and make sure you're receiving the support you need throughout the grant period. Another important piece is being willing to build and shape a local child care provider association. Your voice and expertise are critical in creating a strong network that advocates for providers and uplifts the entire ecosystem. And finally, grant funds must be claimed as income. So we ask that you comply with the necessary reporting for tax purposes. These requirements are designed to help each provider in setting up long-term success while strengthening childcare in our community. Next slide. IBBG will continue the Child Care Catalyst pilot by integrating it into the 2026 BLAC Fund. The Catalyst will operate as our technical assistance and capacity building model, guided by a participatory executive committee and additional child care experts. Here's what to expect if you join this opportunity. First, you'll be a part of a 2-year capacity cohort to strengthen operations, leadership, and sustainnowability. And then 2 additional years of collective support as we work to build a Black-led child care provider association. This is all about phase out, collaboration, voice, and shaping a strong network that advocates for providers and uplifts the entire ecosystem. So overall, it's a 4-year journey designed to support your growth, amplify your leadership, and strengthen childcare landscape in our community.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiara. Eligible expenses. If you are receiving funding, you can utilize the dollars for staff development and or training, also helping your team build new skills or possibly stay current in the field. Funds can also support employee raises, in addition to things as far as including sick banks, anything that can improve the staff stability and or well-being. You can also utilize the funds for equipment, facility improvements, whether it's updating materials, updating classrooms, early childhood curriculum, enhancing your space to be better for not only for children and families, but also for your business. In addition to finally, funds can also be used for staff for safety related expenses, installing storm shelters, and other measures that ensure the safety for children and families in your care. Other categories that are meant giving meaningful flexibility to ensuring that investments directly to support quality, safety, sustainability in your program. The BLAC Fund important dates to be aware of is that applications open January 12th, 2026, and close February 28th, 2026. There will not be an extended deadline after the February 28th, 2026. If you are having technology issues with submitting your application, please reach out to Kelly West and we'll provide that information down at the bottom. And then also these dates will be available on the IBBG website. The committee will review processes on March 9th through April 16th, and then you will get status notifications April 20th, 2026. The BLAC Fund grantee reception will be June 4th, 2026 from 6 to 8. We also will share these dates in that grant application and the FAQs on the IBBG website as well. Next slide.
Okay, so now we will move into the Q&A portion of our presentation. I'm just going to stop sharing so I can get back and forth to the chat. And so you can put your questions in the chat. I've already started to answer some. So if you look at the boundaries that were given, those are the traditional boundaries with a little bit of extension of North Omaha. And so what you would do is you would look at a map and you would compare to those streets. The streets go and create a boundary north, east, south, and west, and then compare that to your address. There was a question about being a startup. Your business does already need to be in business, or your childcare business needs to already be in business. That means operating. This is not for bringing a new childcare business to market. So these are not startup grant funds. We will also have all of this information as well as a FAQ available on our website. And so after this, with this recording, you will be able to play this back, see all of the application questions before you go in to apply so that you can prepare your materials, as well as we'll have an FAQ that has some of this information already in there that people may ask. So the question in the chat, is it all childcare, including home and centers? Yes. You just have to be in the boundaries. You do have to be licensed. And so that is important. And we will drop Kelly's information too. Dr. Takara put it in the chat. It is also on the last slide that people will be able to take a picture of. And it's on our website. So if you have other questions, we will hold space. Put them in the chat, please, and then we will continue to answer. Yes, you can use so the question in the chat is, can you use the funds to improve from an in-home to a center? Yes, that is an eligible expense. Look, everybody's hearing you say and whining on the computer on the meeting. No. Yeah, they are. It's a grumpy morning. Pray for me. These are great questions, so keep dropping them in the chat if you have them. As we wait for more questions to go in, again, we're really excited that we have a committee that understands the industry, is from the area that we are talking about, that are helping to decide. And we unfortunately have finite resources. So we know while we're only able to give 10 awards, we're continuing to seek out funding so that we can do more. We do have a budget limit. So the budget qualifications are in there. And so if your budget is over $1 million, that will not allow you to be eligible to apply. So the specific elements of the application process will be in the FAQ. So we have all of the questions that we are going to ask you that you need to answer. Okay, let's go over here. You will be able to see. And so you'll be able to see what it is that you're going to be asked. You'll be able to see the word count and all of that. And so that you can prepare your materials. So that will be the process. I see you. You fill out the application. There is information around how you submit it. And all of that is there. And it'll be on the page. Hey, mommy's on a meeting and you're not listening. I need you to go play. So the zoning for the space for where you have to be located, it's going to be it's going to be east of 90th. You are going to be going south of McKinley. So McKinley is a street very far north. Mommy. And then there is a southbound street. We have Dodge. Nicole. Dodge is going north. So Dodge is a very far south street. And then the river, right? The Missouri River is our very far east street. So that creates the boundary. It is the typical North Omaha boundary. We just expanded it to 90th because we know that for North Omaha, some of our community members and people are living a little bit further than being east of 72nd. And again, that will be listed in the FAQs and application information.
Actually, is there anyone in the waiting room or someone that emailed me and said they can't get in?
No, everyone is in.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure. I'll just let her know that it'll be recorded.
Yeah, I mean, they can try to leave and come back, but everyone is in the room.
Okay, thank you.
So for the video requirement, the information is on there for how long it needs to be. It's up to 90 seconds. And so the application tells you specifically everything that you need to do. And so when you look at the application requirements, it'll say how long. Stop, Asen. That's not nice to do when mommy's on a meeting. And then it also has how you actually upload a video to YouTube so that people can have that information. So all of the requirements and the prioritization of funding is listed in the criteria for this BLAC Fund, Building Local Alignment and Community Fund. And so the criteria you would need to meet. If you are unsure if you meet the criteria, you can still apply and the committee will look through it. And then you will get your notice if you were eligible or if you are not. So the question is can you apply if you have more than one location? It's not location based. It's about your business. So like your business has to be 51% owned by a woman in an underserved community. Specifically, we are prioritizing Black women owned businesses. If your location and one of your locations is in the boundary and then one of them is out, then the money would have to be used just from an allocation perspective for your business that is in the boundary. If you have 3 businesses in the boundary, then you need to decide based on your strategy and the questions how you're going to use the fund based on the intent of this BLAC Fund. So the question is, if you want to use a grant to do from in-home to a center, do you have to find a place for that? So yes, we would not find a place that you would need to operate. As you are thinking about if you are finding a place and wanted to scale, it would need to stay in the boundaries because we are specifically targeting the boundary intentionally so that we can build up the capacity and ecosystems of business and a community that has seen disinvestment economically from housing to education, transportation, healthcare. And so the goal is to ensure that we have a strong ecosystem of childcare providers and workers in this specific boundary. So if you are moving from in-home to a center, it would need to be in the boundary and the funds are eligible because that is about scaling your business and your business goals. You would articulate that through the grant application process. If you are in South Omaha, I'm not sure what the boundaries are for that. We have communicated what our boundaries are, which is in North Omaha. You would need to be located in North Omaha to be eligible. So with east of 90th, is 90th included? Yes, 90th is a boundary. So if you are on that street of 90th going east, and then with the other boundaries of south, north, and west, you would be able to qualify. The question is, how much can providers apply for? You would get a grant of $25,000. So you don't get to pick what you apply for. It's a set amount. We have $250,000 that we are granting, and so it would be 10 awards of $25,000. Great questions, and we will give people more time to drop more into the chat. Tiara, somebody did come in. So I added an iPhone that just popped up. So I'm not sure if that was your question.
No, I'm not sure.
So there is a note. So I will uplift that while we wait. So there is a okay, wait till I'm done. Thank you. There is, so I'm also a state senator. I'm a state senator for District 13, which is in Northeast and Northwest Omaha. There's currently a bill in our legislature that would address the child care sunset, which would take it from 185% back down to 130. It would remove that sunset and say, we are just going to keep it at 185% for people for families and people to be able to get the child care subsidy, which pays for their child care while families still pay 7%. And so this is going to be important because if the sunset is not removed, then there is a gap of families working families. So people that are trying to, figure it out, don't have a ton of extra disposable income would lose their childcare support, which means that they may have to choose between childcare or working. And we know how important childcare is to working families and our economic growth and development as a state. And so you should advocate, you should talk to your state senator. If you go to the Nebraska legislator page, you can search by your address to see who your representative is so that you're able to call them and tell them to support removing the sunset. And as a state, just so folks know, we are in a deficit. We're in a $500 million deficit. And so we're going to have to find the money. And thank you, Tiara, for putting the toolkit in there in the chat. All right. Any other questions about the BLAC Fund? From the iPhone that just messaged, this meeting is being recorded and all of the information will be up. So right now on our website, all of the information is up. You can see it from the BLAC Fund page. And then after this, this presentation, once the recording downloads, my staff will also put it on there so that you can find it, so that everyone has what they need. You're welcome. So you can ask your parents for the iPhone that said that one, you need to decide. It makes a difference if you're a nonprofit or for-profit of what you're asking people to do, because there's a way that you have to count that for legalities. If you are a for-profit childcare provider, yes, you can ask your parents to write in support of removing the sunset. And then I would just utilize a toolkit that Tiara dropped in the chat that helps with the framing of the letter so that they understand what they're advocating for and why and how, so it doesn't feel like you misrepresented any information. If you are a nonprofit childcare provider, you can also do that. But because that is around specific policy, it goes into a tax compliance, which is called your H election. And if you've never done an H election, if you don't know what that is, I would reach out to the Nonprofit Association of the Midlands, and they can help you navigate your filings for that if you want your parents or if you all want to advocate for this bill. Great questions. Okay, if you are a for-profit, you are fine. Yeah, and it's always good to ask. A lot of this, it's difficult to navigate. They make it difficult on purpose, and so it's always great to ask questions. And there are folks on this call that can definitely provide support and guidance for how you want to advocate and use your voice. All right, we'll give folks a few more minutes to get their questions in. Be careful so you don't break it. Okay, that's okay. All right, let me reshare my screen so I can make sure y'all get the last bit of this, the contact information, because I know it got lost in the chat. And so we are really excited for this. I think it really hits different when people from community are trying to create and source the solutions versus people that are not from the community or don't have the experiences or identities telling us. And so I am really appreciative of Tiara, Nicole, Dr. Takara, and Dr. Lloyd for being a part of the participatory grant making committee. They have the expertise, commitment, and love of our community, and they are 10 toes down in ensuring that we are able to have outsized impact with these funds, and that we are staying value aligned, and that it really helps to build sustainable, resilient ecosystems around the caregiving economy. And again, we know that it's not a lot of money. We're only going to be able to grant to 10 organizations, and that's tough. And our hope is that through this initiative, we are currently working to try to influence other funders and people that care about childcare, that care about the economy, that care about fair wages for our staff and benefits and all these other things, that they see our model, that they understand it, and will continue to make, or start to make, if they're not already, investment in like opportunities, because we know that we have seen intentional disinvestment in our community, and that we need not just debt to build our businesses, but grants to really help equal the playing field. And so you can't open it, it's a snow globe. And so he wants to open a snow globe that he made and put stuff everywhere. Telling you, it's a rough morning, people. And I thank childcare providers, because y'all deal with this every day. This 3-year-old is running me ragged. And imagine y'all got 12 of them. And so all of the information for for the application for the BLAC Fund is on our website, which is ibbg.org. It is under community-led investments, and then you'll see the BLAC Fund underneath there. That is on that page. This recording, as I mentioned, will be up. Once it downloads, we'll get it over to YouTube, and we'll have a link there. The application opens up January 12th. But in the meantime, you can go look at the application materials. You can download them. You can start preparing your materials for the application. And then follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We will also post reminders about the BLAC Fund. Our handle is IB Black Girl. We also have a newsletter sign up on our website. And then, as we mentioned, if you have any other specific questions that you didn't ask now, or as you're thinking about it, you have a question, please email kelly@ibbg.org. Our offices are closed until January 5th. And so please do not expect a response till that week of the 5th, because we come back on the 5th. And so there's going to just be a lot of catch up to emails and things like that. So you will get an answer, but it'll probably be the end of that first week. But go ahead and send your questions to Kelly, and we will make sure that we circle back and get them answered. All right. Any other questions or things? I'm going to check the chat while I have this up if people want to screenshot it. Oops, I went all the way up. He is having a good time, Lord, y'all. He's just so scholarships for private pay clients, you would need to make the case of why that's about business sustainability. The goal of these funds are to ensure that your business can grow and that it can be sustainable. And so I don't want to say no. That is going to be for the committee to look at. But I think you will need to talk about, and with the questions that are asked, how does providing a scholarship allow for you to meet your overall business goals, to be able to build kind of this resilient ecosystem and community that we are trying to in this specific geographic area. I appreciate that. Just about the transparency about the grants. My senator hat, we're working on that. So stay tuned. Taking off my senator hat in this IBBG space, yes, transparency and communication is important. And we know like y'all are so critical to our infrastructure as a society. Like you need childcare. I need it when I go to work. I need it because I need a break. I want my kids to be taught by someone. I'm not an educator, right? Like you are teaching and preparing our future leaders and presidents and CEOs and doctors, right? Like caregivers are so, so, so important. And it should be accessible and clear the opportunities that are there to invest in your businesses. And that was important. And so we want to demonstrate that. And we hope that others can learn from our model. And we're always refining it because we're not perfect, right? And so we're always refining and thinking about and challenging ourselves of how we show up for our community, how we communicate, and how do we really meet the goals and mission that we have set out to do. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna tell her not to be responding though, because she's supposed to be on break. Everybody's supposed to be resting in a space of rest, but she is really good and is on top of it. I have great staff. So I'm really appreciative of them. And she needs to take a break. It's been a long year. Okay, so it looks like there are no other questions. I'm going to stop sharing. Um, Again, I appreciate everyone. Thank you again, committee members, for your work and your intention of putting this together. Thank you all for showing up this morning to get the information. We are so appreciative again of your work in our community, the service and businesses that you are building and that you are providing. We will have all the information up. If you have questions, email Kelly. And I hope that everyone has a safe and restful holiday season, however you are celebrating.